Hi guys, thank you so much for clicking this video. If you're a new subscriber, please subscribe. So let's talk about conflict in relationships. So this past week there was a topic on news in Kenya, on television in Kenya, and so there's this lady who stabbed their boyfriend, and we were shown a video by a footage that was taken from a CCTV, how the boyfriend collapsed after being stabbed. And then there's a video that that they were just showing how she was explaining how things changed before she stabbed their boyfriend. And when I was watching that video, I was like, I had an aha moment. I was like, you know what? I understand what this lady is saying. Even though other people do not understand, for me, I understand what this lady is saying. Why is it that I was understanding what the lady is saying? I will give you that video to watch before I end this video. The lady was saying she didn't understand what had happened. They were just arguing, and then the next thing, she stabbed the boyfriend, which I understand. For you, you can talk a lot and judge the lady and say, anger issues, what have you. You can say everything. But for me, I understand that lady. And even now that she is in, she's in the prison, I actually still am praying for her, and I hope that God will heal her inside that prison. Because whatever she went through or whatever she's going through, I understand. Why am I saying that I know and understand? Because there was a time I was in an abusive relationship, or let me just say the relationship was not working, or maybe we had irreconcilable differences, and we will the boyfriend was not listening to me most of the time, and it will hurt me. And I'm an extrovert, and apart from being an extrovert, I have been hurt by many people in my family, my relatives, my friends, and all that. And so this is someone who has been hurt, and here you are hurting her and not giving her a chance to express herself, and you're not even sorry. You're just giving excuses, or you're giving excuse after excuse. You're not listening to her. And I remember most times we will fight, and he will try to slap me, and I will reach out to anything that is close to me to beat him up, because I don't have strength as much as him. I cannot throw blows the way he was throwing blows at me. I cannot slap him because maybe he's taller than me or rougher than me. And so I will reach out for anything. If we were in the kitchen, I will reach out for a sufuria or maybe a knife. If we're in the, I will reach out for something just to beat him, to defend myself. And I was defending, it was not like, someone annoys you and now you plan that, that is now planned, crime. It was not like that. It is, you have a disagreement, and then when you're trying to make peace, you end up, beating this person and injuring them and committing crime. And so I thank God who protected me that time, because most of the time when I will get so annoyed and even get violent, the guy will run. So if the guy will not have run, it means maybe I will also have killed at that time, and maybe I will be in prison. And I know the anger was because of I had unforgiveness in my heart, and that unforgiveness translated into the anger that I had. So you will find that you will hurt me just a bit in something that I can avoid or dismiss, but the anger will the spirit of anger will find that and exaggerate it and make it a big deal, and I will find myself having a lot of rage and being so angry, and you can argue and argue, and men are not patient with you when you argue too much, when you talk too much, and it will just end up into something that bad. And I know you're watching this, and you're maybe in a relationship that is not working as well. I want to tell you that you need to find out what is causing that conflict, and you need to decide on how you're going to work out that conflict, how you're going to manage it, because conflict is not bad. Unresolved conflict is what is bad, because unresolved conflict, it grows and it eats you up, and the root of bitterness grows inside of you, and it becomes something else. But conflict is normal in every relationship. So I'm not saying if you're having conflict in your relationship, you should leave. No, every relationship has conflict. Even for people who are born again, like how there's still conflict. The only difference is how they manage that conflict. So before I give you this video, I want to give you some warnings, and if you are able to write, so that you go back to them, so that you don't forget, I promise you that you're going to have a difference in your relationship. You're going to have a difference in your relationship. So the first thing I want to tell you is, don't date if you're not ready to get married. Don't just date for the sake. Date if you know you want to get married. But if you don't want to get married, you just want to have sex, just have a casual relationship. Don't date just for anything unless you want to get married. The next thing is, don't date someone to please anyone, to please your parents, to please your friends. Don't do that. Date someone because you love them, because you want to be with them, you want to serve them. This applies to both men and women. Date someone that you love, and don't push someone who doesn't love you. If they show signs of not loving you, please leave them. Don't force people into loving you. Don't finish complete sentences in your mind, and you think that just because they are good to you, they love you. Don't do that. Only date someone who loves you. Let it be mutual. Don't force people into loving you, and don't force yourself into loving someone to please anyone. Only date someone whom you love, or even get married only to the person that you love. Some people have ended up marrying someone that they don't love to please their parents, and you can't pretend forever. You can't lie to yourself. You can't lie to God. If the foundation is not love, it will break. You can't pretend forever. A day is coming when it will break, and it will be shameful. So you better date someone whom you love, and not that you're pleasing anyone. In the days of social media, there are people who date someone, who is famous, so that they can show off with that person. Don't follow that. Relationships are different. Marriages that are meant to stand the test of time are different. They have to be based on love, because when you love someone, you can dismiss certain wrongdoings that they do for you. You can dismiss, because in relationship you have to dismiss a lot of wrongs. But if you keep account of wrongs, then it can't work. And you cannot dismiss a wrong that someone has done to you unless you terribly love them. So only date someone whom you love. Another thing is, women have to submit. If you cannot submit, do not get married. If you cannot submit to a man, do not get married. If the man you are dating now is someone you cannot submit to, do not get married to that man. Only get married to someone you can submit. Only, date someone you can submit to, because there comes a time that a lady has to submit. You have to listen to this guy and hear what he has to say. And even if it is foolish, you have to just hear it and tolerate it. Another thing is, men have an ego. If you can't bear with the ego of a man, don't date him. If you want to bruise the ego of a man by, talking badly at them, arguing with them, abusing them, being arrogant at them, please don't date. Please don't marry. Men have an ego that you have to respect. You have to, apply oil on that ego. Find out to talk to them. Find out to, argue with them. Use your sweet voices. If you're a lady, get it from me that every man, even the pastor that you're married to, if you don't respect his ego, it will not work. And the last thing is, when an argument arises, just know this: for both of you to agree, one person has to bend low in order for peace to prevail. But the good news is, you are not going to bend low forever. Things get better with time. So if you are meant to be, even in a relationship, you will argue for the first 1 year, second 1 year, things get better. You start to know each other. You start to know what works for who and what works for who. The arguments get better with time. Don't use only one argument to spoil the whole relationship. And you're not going to argue forever. There comes a time when, you may be young and you're thinking that, there are many people and, you can leave this relationship and go there. But a time is coming when you'll be 50 years and you can't move from one relationship to the other. That is when you will need only one person who can be with you in the house and go with you the places that you go. You need company. And so you're not going to argue forever. So don't allow arguments to spoil that relationship. Don't allow yourself to get to an old age and be desperate. A time is coming when you will be desperate. Respect the man's ego. And if you're a woman, submit. If you're a man, avoid beating women. Avoid beating your woman. If they argue with you, or if you see that they're so mad, walk away. Just go. Don't even resolve an issue if one person is so heartbroken and wants to argue and be arrogant and cause mayhem. Go away. Go for a walk. Just go somewhere. Come later. Just sleep. Just make sure you are avoiding the times that one is very annoyed. But I also encourage you to be, finding a way of resolving issues immediately. And if you're the one who is angered, please don't be, mean with your forgiveness. Forgive. You are not God. If Jesus Christ came and died for people who do not care, they're still continuing in sin. Who are you not to forgive? So forgive, because today it is you who has been angered. Tomorrow it is you who will, anger the other person. Nobody is a saint in this relationship or is in this marriage. Everybody has to be angered. So I want you to watch this video that I'm going to clip here, and after this video I will finish up.
What happened? What's not happening? What's not happening? I don't know anything. If I have to be jailed because I'm a beard, I'm not jailed.
Shida imetokea wapi? Umetafuta kisu, nani alikuwa amehold kisu kwa kwanza, ni yeye ama ni wewe?
Okay.
Tuambie tu.
Amenichapa, ameanza kunichapa. Unaona, like a woman will take anything to defend herself. So mimi nikachukua kikombe, nikamrushia, nikamuuliza nini ba? Katika ile kurushana, miss acha tukwambie ukweli, I swear before God, I don't know what happened next. Lakini mimi najua tu amenipiga. Even a friend asked me, I didn't know. Nikaanza tu kumcheka nikamwambia, what's not happening? Mmoja ananiuliza vigil, what's not happening?
Madam kidogo. Unajua huyu jamaa anakuuliza mzuri.
I said I don't know what happened.
Ngoja kidogo.
Mimi umpikia kila siku, sababu kufanyia kila kitu.
Anakuuliza vizuri. ndio fikie mahali ya kupigana, mlikuwa mnapigana ndio mchukue.
Yeah, we were fighting.
Nani alikuwa na kisu ndio tuchukue kisu?
I don't know. Kisu ilikuwa tu hapo hivyo, lakini I don't know. Lakini ninajua we were fighting. We started fighting.
Unajua ni vizuri kusema
kweli. We started fighting. If you have to tell me for that,
hata kama umekunywa ni vizuri mtu kuongea ukweli.
Unajua lazima tufuate.
Ukweli ni kitu cha maana. Hata kama mlikuwa wawili, ukweli ni kitu cha maana na ndio huwa inaokoa. Afadhali useme nilikuwa kwa nyumba, tulikuwa tunakula, tulikuwa tunafanya hivi na ikatokea nikachukua kisu nikafanya hivi. Lakini ukisema hujui ile imetokea, lazima unajua
you're putting words in my mouth. Lazima bado sijaongea.
Lakini sasa fanya hivi, madam.
So vile tumefika.
Madam, mimi naitwanga Edu. Kama jamaa umedunga kisu. Ndio kweli.
Ni vizuri useme ukweli, kama na ukweli uma.
I hope you watched that video. And just to finish up, I want to tell you how to resolve conflict, how to deal with conflict in your relationships or in your marriages before they get out of hand. So I'm going to give you 4 points that, there are points, there are steps or whatever you need to follow in order to resolve your conflict the biblical way. I will support them with scriptures. You can read them at your own time. The first thing is resolve conflict as soon as possible. The lady you see in that video must have accumulated a lot of hurt over the years. And so this was the day that the devil had gotten an opportunity to get hold of her and spoil everything for this relationship. So resolve conflict as soon as possible. Do not accumulate. Do not postpone the times that you're going to deal with these problems. The next thing is respond in love when angered. When someone angers you, find a better time to talk to them. Do not just call them, maybe they're in the jam and you start arguing, you go at their place of work and cause mayhem, or you start, abusing each other in the estate where you live. No, respond in love, because I don't think you are in this relationship to destroy each other. You are in this relationship to make it work. So please, respond in love when you're angered, or when you anger someone. Do not stop making a lot of excuses. Just say, forgive me, I was wrong. Forgive me and I will not repeat it. It was a mistake. Just show love because you want this relationship or this marriage to work. The next thing is use all your power and resources and ability to resolve conflict. This I can say to both. To the ladies, you have a voice. You can use your voice. You can be loud. You can be, you can be cool. You see the seductive voice that you use when you want something. Use that same voice when your husband has angered you. That is a way to address him. If you're a man, when your lady has angered you, find a way of, just sitting her down and, just talk it out. You're not going to destroy each other. You can even buy her a gift and, out of that you tell her, you wronged me in this way. Just use all your power, all your resources and ability to resolve conflict, because your partner's strength, your partner's weaknesses, how to deal with your partner. Use that advantage to resolve conflict. If your partner loves sex, when you annoy them, you can give them good sex. I don't know what your partner likes. Buy them a gift. Buy them a flower. Take them for a vacation. Just make sure you have resolved that conflict. The next thing is destroy archives of past misdeeds. Do not keep an account of wrongs. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 5 says, love does not keep an account of wrongs. And that can only happen if you follow the first step that I told you. Resolve conflict as soon as possible. When you resolve conflict, immediately they happen. You can't, keep that account of wrongs, because you have already sorted it before it has it has destroyed everything, or before things have gotten worse, before the root of offense has been planted in the body, before bitterness becomes too much. Resolve it immediately so that you don't keep account of wrongs. And if you are a man, do not be too bitter or too harsh. Be approachable so that your woman can be able to tell you when you wrong them. Listen to the other person. Be good listeners more than speakers. Be good listeners so that when someone is angered, they can express themselves, and this issue can be sorted before it gets out of hand. Because when it gets out of hand, someone accumulates because you're not a good listener, and because you will not even change. Even whether they tell you or not, you will not change, and so it accumulates. And once it accumulates, it becomes even worse, because things are now out of hand. And most of the time, because you fail to listen, you can destroy a relationship that was meant to work. Just because of your anger issues that maybe was caused by your childhood traumas and your past relationships, you can destroy a relationship that was meant to work. So make sure you don't keep an account of wrongs. When you're wronged, resolve and forget. Resolve and just don't mention it. Even if you're still remembering, don't just mention it, because there are people who are very sensitive. When you keep an account of wrongs, they feel like you are judging them. So just don't keep an account of wrongs, and even if you're keeping, just make sure you don't mention. The next thing is inconvenience yourselves for the sake of resolution of conflict. This one I said at the beginning of the video, and I still want to repeat it. So this is the thing. I can't be, maybe I'm the one who has wronged my partner, and my partner has anger issues, and I will find a way of just bending low so that she can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and at the end of the day I say sorry and resolve it. Later, when all this is gone, we can now talk and amicably, and understand that I was not on the wrong, or I did this because of this. And so just bend low. If you can inconvenience yourself for the sake of the other person when you wrong them, the better. Make sure if you are on the wrong, just be silent. Just say sorry, and don't give excuses. Don't defend yourself. Just say sorry and continue to say sorry because you have wronged this person. Don't argue also, and you're the one who has wronged the person. Inconvenience yourself. If you're a man and you have ego, it's all right, but you're the one who has angered this lady. So just be a good listener. Let her talk and talk and talk. Even if she's abusing you, you have wronged her anyway. So let her talk and talk and talk, and then later you can tell her, you know what, I don't like it when you abuse me. I didn't. When all this is gone, or maybe you've made up and things are now okay and you're laughing, it is possible to talk about a past hurt when both of you are in good spirit. The last thing is, don't set a high price for your forgiveness. You're not God. Okay? Don't set a high price for your forgiveness. You're not God. That is a very good way to summarize this. Because if Jesus himself, was able to come on earth to forgive us by dying on the cross, he forgave even you who is now angered at your partner. He forgave you, and he forgave every sin. He forgave your partner for cheating on you. Why is it that your partner has said forgive him or her, she's not going to do it again, and you love her? Why think of killing her or him? Just forgive. Don't be hard on forgiveness. You're not God. Learn to forgive even the worst, and forgive again and again. Make it your lifestyle, because you will be angered again and again. It is not happening today only. You'll be angered again tomorrow. So you better learn to forgive again and again and again, and don't get tired of forgiving, because conflicts will always be there in this relationship, and you need to forgive, to forgive, to forgive. And don't forget that it gets better with time. You're not going to argue forever. Have you seen an old grandma and an old grandpa who are living together arguing? maybe arguing about, you didn't put this plate here, you didn't clean this, you didn't buy this. No, they don't have that. At that point, it's your children who are doing the shopping for you. You have maybe your own driver, or you're just walking to the shop. No, you won't argue forever. So don't live in a relationship because you're arguing, and don't let anger drive you to commit murder or crime. Someone was asking me, why is it that ladies nowadays are committing crime more than men? It is because ladies feel like they have been, mishandled for such a long time, so they need to defend themselves. Stop hearing what people are saying. Even if someone else's relationship is working, someone is telling you, my husband is like this and this, my boyfriend is like this and this, my wife is like this and this, my girlfriend is like this and this. Don't listen to them, because when you listen to them, you compare yourself to them, and you feel like you for a long time you people have been fair on you. And when your significant other tries to when your significant other does something so little, you try to prove yourself amidst that small thing. You want to prove yourself like, me, I'm not like other ladies who can be, mistreated. Me, I'm not like this and this. You try to prove yourself, and in the process you spoil for yourself. So stop comparing your relationship with another relationship. Stop listening to other people. Stop comparing what people are writing on the social media about their relationships to your relationship. Yours is unique. And don't leave a relationship because you guys are arguing. No, you're not going to argue forever. You're just arguing because you two are strangers. You're not brought up together. You're just learning to live with each other. You have to argue. The only problem is when you fail to resolve issues and they become, offense in your heart, and bitterness grows inside of you, then, anger may, become part of your lifestyle, and you might end up committing, crimes. Because when you're arguing and you become so loud, men don't like when people are loud to them, and they become violent. And when they become violent, what do? You yourself, you try to defend yourself. And most of the time when you try defending yourself, what do? You end up, you're the one who has committed crime. And so everybody continues to blame the women. Learn to be submissive, and don't date someone who you cannot be submissive to. And if you're a guy, learn to listen to the ladies, and talk out, have good communication. Talk about many things together, so that in the process you get to learn each other and you become more understanding, because people are not perfect. Even the perfect relationship that you see on TV, people giving their success stories, at one point they were fighting just like you. At one point the guy, every young guy is learning how to be a husband or how to be a boyfriend. Every young girl is learning how to be a girlfriend or how to be a wife. The learning process is not easy. A lot of conflict has to happen, but it does not mean that you're going to live in that conflict forever. Learn to be patient with yourself. Learn to be patient with your significant other. And just know this, that you're not going to argue forever. And don't allow anger to drive you to commit crime. And don't forget that marriage and relationship work, and they don't work. They only work if God is involved. If you have not involved God in your relationship, you need to involve God in your relationship, because God cannot bless a relationship that is not involved in. Perhaps the reason why you have had conflicts time and time again is because you have not involved God. That is just a wake-up call. God is trying to tell you, you know what? You are arguing with this person again and again because I'm not involved. Because when God is involved, there is patience, there is love, there is self-control. All the fruits of the Holy Spirit are part of you guys in this relationship. The triangle is complete. God is at the top. Both of you are at the same level, And you know, we are all the same before God. As much as the guy has ego, the lady need to submit. Before God, we are the same. So if you involve God in your relationship, you will weather the conflict so easily, because God will bless a relationship that is involved in. And even when God is involved, don't forget that conflict is part of a relationship, because both of you are learning. You know, you're just learning to be boyfriends, you're learning to be girlfriends, you're learning to be a husband, you're learning to be a wife. Once you get to 50 years, or once you've lived for 20 years, you know, the lessons will now apply and life will be good. And love is a beautiful thing. God bless you. See you again next time. Please subscribe. Bye.